Thank you. Good morning again. I'm here to give you a little bit of an update on the Long-Term Experimental and Management Plan, EIS. That's an acronym, and it's also come to be a verb for those of us working on it. We LTEMP, day in and day out. First, I'll review for you the process and scope of the EIS, the list of alternatives that we're considering actively, and a rough idea of the schedule that we're working on right now. Why are we doing this new plan to refine the operation of Glen Canyon Dam? We're taking advantage of the 18 years of research that we have gained since the record of decision through the Glen Canyon Adaptive Management Program, and we're continuing to comply with ongoing requirements, principally the Endangered Species Act and also the National Historic Preservation Act, to protect resources in compliance with the Grand Canyon Protection Act. This is a joint lead process for the environmental impact statement. The Bureau of Reclamation operates the dam, of course. The National Park Service is the principal landowner within the area that could be affected by how we operate the dam. The 3 park units from Glen Canyon down to Lake Mead. We have Argonne National Laboratory under contract via interagency agreement to prepare the EIS. They are a contractor-operated but owned by the Department of Energy. They're operated by the University of Chicago. We have 14 cooperating agencies. At least one of them is in this room, Don, with the Upper Colorado River Commission. And the Western folks are here, too. Nearly half of the cooperators are tribes that are, 5 of them are active in the adaptive management program. So generally the scope of the document itself is that we are considering actions that could change how we operate the dam to further the purposes of the Grand Canyon Protection Act. There are also some non-flow actions under consideration. These include some pilot project ideas for vegetation management in the Grand Canyon and in Glen Canyon, and also trout control. The issue there being that trout tend to eat humpback chub, and we have biological opinion requirements, and of course a desire to maintain healthy populations of the 4 Colorado River endangered fish. All of the alternatives comply with the 2007 interim guidelines. So the annual volume of water and our delivery requirements do not change. Within year, the alternatives are looking at changes in monthly volumes and changes in flows, but we still have to meet that annual requirement. The process is not considering any major infrastructure changes to Glen Canyon Dam. We're simply looking at refining the releases from the dam to see if we can protect and where possible, improve resources as required by the Grand Canyon Protection Act. The maximum operational releases, therefore, are 45,000 cubic feet per second. And the alternatives all go up to that maximum, most of them do. But you have a variety of frequencies and durations and different constraints to see how we can affect, for the better, certain resources and not do harm to other resources. There is variation among the alternatives on this fish management. Some of them are trying trout management flows, and some of them involve mechanical removal. We're very much aware that some of the tribes are concerned about the taking of life in the Grand Canyon, and we're actively consulting with them on this problem. They're well aware of what these alternatives can contain, and we're continuing discussions with them on that aspect. Here are the alternatives that we've carried forward for analysis. No action is continuation of the modified low fluctuating flows pursuant to the 96 record of decision. The balanced resource alternative was proposed by the Colorado River Energy Distributors Association. The condition-dependent adaptive strategy was proposed by the basin states, and then the rest of those have been devised by Reclamation. If we can turn to the next slide, the hybrid alternative is a new one, having looked at those first 6. Reclamation looked across all of the alternatives to see what good ideas we might bring together and see if we could improve on those other action alternatives. We are in active dialogue with cooperators and stakeholders to see if we can get some consensus on this, and it's still very much a moving target. We've briefed the cooperators and some of the other stakeholders, and actually we met with Zuni last week, so we have started speaking with the tribes, and that will be an ongoing process. This little table shows you the characteristics as we know them today. This is still very much in analysis and in discussion as to how we move forward on this, but it does show you up top the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different flow regimes that might be tried. And then we have the trout management flows that are also under consideration. And then, of course, low summer flows. And the last one is not a flow scenario. That would be mechanical removal of trout if we have a need to do that, again, to fulfill our Endangered Species Act requirements. This is just a lot of boxes that shows you the modeling and just how very complex the interrelationships are among the resources that we're dealing with in the Glen Canyon Dam operation. Most of the modeling is done. We're still working on the power modeling, which we expect to be finished in early November. But this gives you an idea of just how much work has been done to date and how we're currently trying to assimilate and articulate the results of all this modeling. Currently, we are not sleeping much. We're working on assembling the administrative draft for our own internal review and then to share by early December with the cooperating agencies. They asked for it for Christmas, and we're happy to oblige. But we are all working collectively and cooperatively very hard to try and get a draft done early in calendar year 2015. That draft would be published for a 60-day comment period, and that would include 4 or 5 public hearings. And with that, we do have a website. If you are interested in seeing how we're progressing, this is the address on the web, and you can certainly, if you wish, sign up for the mailing list to get updates. And with that, we'll close with a shot of the Grand Canyon.